Oh my God, so where have I been all this time? I'm so sorry for not posting. You must have thought I'd given up on everybody. Um, I'm sorry about that, but I have had probably 6 to 8 weeks of just mayhem getting my house ready to sell. And it's nearly killed me actually. You've probably noticed my hair's grown long since last time. It's going to get cut soon. And I'm so sorry I've just given up on you guys, just while that's going on. So my house clear, there was a number of things that made it more than just a house clear. First was I had so much clutter. It was almost a problem, actually. It was almost becoming a problem. I had a room I couldn't actually get in. That's definitely a problem. So I had to clear the general clutter. Then I had all my mum and dad's stuff. I think I've shown you that in an earlier video, but I'll drop something in here just to give you a look at the size of that problem. And then I had the clearing enough out my house to get it ready to sell. So it's a bit unplanned this. I just felt I should sit down and make a video just because I hadn't made one for so long. So it's what I call a bitzer video. I'm going to go through my house clear with you, and the declutter, what I've done with it all, where it's all gone. I'll show you around my house. Who knows, you might be interested, you might not. And then I've got some other quite interesting fun things. I'm following a new person on YouTube. Really enjoyed following her. Going to share a bit of her words of wisdom with you. And I'm going to show you a ship model that my dad left me, which appeared in the declutter. I'd looked many a time. I'd thought, where's that model gone? And I'd seen pictures of it and thought, and I loved it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I opened up a box that just had pictures, and in there was the ship model, and I've sort of brought that back to life. It still needs a little bit of work. I'll show you that. I'm going to have a quick look at some of my home automation. Might interest you, might not. I'm not going to do a nerdy look. I'm just going to do a sort of average person look at home automation, and then in a week's time I'm off to Oman again, so hopefully I'll have a bit more fun from Oman to share with you. So it's a bit of a bits of video this. God only knows how long it's going to take, but let's get started, and I'm glad to be back with you guys. So my declutter, well, as I said, I had more than just a declutter, really. I had a huge a hoarding problem, really. I had a room I couldn't get in. I had to clear that. I had to take on extra storage because the stuff I do want to keep, and the stuff that I just want to move out the house while I'm selling it, just to sort of open it up a bit. I've had to sort all that, and as I say, my mum and dad's stuff, and just clearing the house. It's been huge. I had to do a little bit of redecorating on the house as well, so when I moved some of the furniture, the walls behind were a bit grubby and things like that. So let's have a look at that. So you probably noticed from the video the wall behind me was a bit bare. That's because the furniture's gone from this room, really. This is my office. That's my ship model that I'm going to come on to. I'll go on to that later on. I've reduced the size of my desk down to a smaller one. It just makes what's a very small room look just that bit larger. And walking through bathroom, not very exciting, it's a bathroom, but again needed repainting, needed redecorating, and it needed some things taking out just to sort of open up the room a bit. My second bedroom is here. That's pretty much empty now. Well, apart from Poppy, who's doing her dead cat impression. It's her birthday today. She's 14 years old today. Happy birthday, Poppy. She's so gorgeous. And she's got a little bit freaked out by the house changing. They don't like houses changing. And a lot of her little safe spots have gone. And so she's not overly happy. So looking around my second bedroom, these boxes go away if anyone's viewing. They're actually there so that Poppy can get up to her litter tray. And it's just a big empty room, apart from some of my kids' teddy bears, which I need to get back to them. So I talked to the estate agent about this and said, should I put a bed in here? And he said, no, leave it as it is. People will work it out. It's got a beautiful view across the playing fields. So really, this is the most shocking transformation. This was the room you couldn't get in. So this is my dining room, and it's now a proper room. I had to pretty much redecorate the room, and before there were industrial shelving along there with all my mum and dad's things on. That's all now gone up to the antique dealer in Scotland. I drove to Scotland and back in 2 days with a van to get all that lot up to him, and he's selling that. And this is a room that I never had before, so it's a bit strange to suddenly have a room that I'd lost to clutter. I'm just going to move so that I don't give away my registration. I love you guys, but I don't want to give everything away. And so now I have a whole new room, which is kind of rather lovely. You'll have to excuse some clutter. These are buckets of honey ready to go into storage, but I can't actually put them into storage until the weather warms up just a little bit more. Still a bit of clutter where I'm clearing things away. And obviously when the house gets viewed, I put the dog bed away, much to the horror of the dog. So that's my sitting room, and then we go. I've left my sheets on the line. I should have brought them in really. We go through to my conservatory. Got these wonderful bifold doors out onto the garden, which kind of open the garden right up into the room. And again, there's a little bit of clutter around still, but it's all stuff I put away if I get a house viewing, like my plants and things. Look at this rather lovely greenhouse. This was my mum's greenhouse. Isn't that beautiful? It's a dusting nightmare, but it's beautiful. And back into the living room. And then through into my kitchen. My kitchen's chaos at the moment. But it's a rather cottagey style kitchen. It's been a little bit more cleared out. Still got a huge number of glasses from my mum and dad, which have been slowly cycling through the dishwasher and getting ready to go up to Scotland. So there's a quick view of my house as I go through. We're going full circle, so I came round through here and then we're back here. More hives full of honey that again can't put outside yet, but in the next week when it's forecast to warm up a bit, they can go into storage too. So just a quick view of my house there. And something of living in a 250 to 280 year old house. It's all beams, it's all higgledy-piggledy. When you go up the stairs, even a short ass like me can bang their head on the stairs. And when you get upstairs, all the floor is slightly uneven. You kind of feel a bit drunk walking across the floor. So yes, it's a lovely character house. If you love square rooms and perfectly flat floors, it's not a house for you. So a quick brief look around at the work I've done on my house. You probably appreciate from before some of the pictures I've shown. You know, some of those rooms were literally just bursting with clutter, and actually it's been really nice to get a house that's opened up. And it's a bit like when you sell your car, you clean it all up, you empty it out, and you suddenly think, this is a really good car. I'm sort of thinking the same with my house now. I'm looking at my house, and now that I've done all that decorating and cleared all that clutter, I'm sort of sitting here thinking, I'm mad selling this. You know, I'm never going to get anything as lovely as this again. So it's a bit of a strange time. Let's have a quick look at something I've been watching on YouTube. I've really enjoyed. It's a young lady from, I think, Canada, and she's got a channel called According to Nicole. I'll put a link in the description. I've really enjoyed her videos, and she does a lot on decluttering, a lot on simplification of your life, and I just like her style. I've really enjoyed watching them. So hopefully you'll enjoy them too. She's got a load more subscribers than me, of course. She probably makes videos more regularly than I do. One of the ones that really struck a chord with me was called The Death of the Third Place. Really interesting. So you've got sort of two primary places. You've got your home, which is your first place. often you've got your work, which is your second place. And then you have a third place, which is your sort of chosen place you would go. For some people, it's their local pub. For some people, it's a place they walk with their dog. But it's their third place. It's their third most significant place. And her argument is that a lot of people have lost their third place because what used to be their coffee shop or their pub or their whatever that they used to go to has gone, partly because of COVID, partly because of the internet and online, everybody's online, and partly because of just general globalization. Places like Starbucks taking over everywhere means that your local coffee shops are failing and people are losing their third place. Well, for me, it's a bit more extreme than that because I work from home. Actually, it's my second place. So if you lose your third place, you've got your first and second place. If you've only got you've only got one workplace, home and work as your one place, effectively you're losing your second place. You're down to one place. And it really struck a chord with me that I need to understand that obviously I've got France, which would be my second place. It may even be my first place, and the UK might be my second, but you know what I mean. I've sort of still got a first, second, and then the third that she's talking about. But it really struck a chord with me that we're losing our third place. Have a look at the video again. I'll link the video and her channel below. I've really enjoyed watching her videos. There's something just nice about her, honest and open about her, and I've really enjoyed watching the videos. So next up is Dad's ship model. So Dad had some lovely ship models. You probably see on the wall behind me this cutaway model of the doing my finger the wrong way. This cutaway model of a ship's architecture, and some beautiful ship models. A bone ship model, a very valuable prisoner of war ship model. Not something you sort of put on display where the cat can knock it over or somebody can knock it over, but nonetheless a really spectacular ship model. And then I've got a couple which are just nice. I just enjoy them, and this is one of those. Dad had it for years. I don't know what it is that talked to me about this model, and I think it was the anchor chain going down into the sea. I don't know why. Even as a kid, I remember looking at the anchor chain and thinking, oh wow, you know, look, sounds crazy, I know, but I just fell in love with this model. And after Mum and Dad died, I couldn't find it anywhere in the boxes and boxes, and honestly, you can't imagine how many boxes came out of storage that we put into storage when they went into care homes. So we didn't see them for maybe 10 years. Then suddenly we've got all these boxes of things, and that's what was cluttering up my dining room. Anyway, opened this box and there was the ship model, and I took it out and I put it on the side, and every time I walked past I stopped and looked at it and went, oh, look at that. And it gave me so much warmth. I've really enjoyed it, and I've modernised it. I know that sounds dreadful, but it's not. It's a reversible change. So let's have a quick look at it, see what you think. So this is the ship model. I mean, it's not particularly huge. You know, to give you a clue, here's my hand. This was the anchor chain that really fascinated me as a kid. I don't know why it fascinated me so much. It's called a diorama because it's not just a model, it's got a painting in the background as well. And I'm trying to get rid of some of the reflections on the glass. And I just fell in love with this model. I just love it. It's rather beautiful. It's got a lifeboat that's fallen off, needs fixing. And I noticed there's a flag on the deck there that's fallen off the top of the mast. Again, needs a little bit of fixing. But you may notice that it's been fairly well lit. And what I've done is I've put a bit of tech in it. So I've put some LED strips up the top with a little microcontroller which controls those LEDs. And it controls it through my home automation. So the idea is that during the day it'll be lit like daylight. And as it goes to night, it'll change to like a moonlight. And I'm actually thinking of connecting it up to the weather forecast. So if there's a thunderstorm coming, you actually get the lightning on the boat as well. Let me see if I can reproduce that for you. So here it is in moonlight setting. It's actually a lot more subtle than that, but the camera, my iPhone camera, has sort of made it less subtle and made it look a bit bright. In reality, that's just a very, very light blue glow. And it gives it this beautiful, beautiful atmosphere. Again, as I say, the iPhone has thought it's done its best and lightened it up. Let me show you what happens when a storm's coming. I just love this. It's so childish. I'm really struggling to get the lighting right here, and again my iPhone is messing up the lighting, but hopefully you'll see every now and then there's a little flash of lightning flickering away. It's really quite realistic when you see it in real life. As I say, the iPhone really doesn't do it justice, and I think I'll quite enjoy that. So when there's a storm coming, my little ship model will flicker away with a storm too. I know it's childish. It's very much a first world problem. So here we are back to normal lighting, and I think a slightly wonky tripod now. And so I hope you enjoyed my model there. I've kind of really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed having it back and customizing it a wee bit. I know there's a lot of purists that will say, "Oh, crikey, he's putting LEDs on a ship model, you Sassenach." But I just think it's a bit of fun. I've just noticed it's flickering away like lightning there. Let me just turn it off. That will annoy me. So let me tell you how I've done that, because this might interest some people. So this is what's known as home automation. My whole home, because I'm a massive nerd, is controlled by home automation. I started with a system called Home Assistant running on a Raspberry Pi. A Raspberry Pi is one of those little cheap computers with an SD card. And it got me started, and it was a lot of fun. But there's a fundamental flaw with the Raspberry Pi, and that is running on one of those SD cards. SD cards are designed for cameras and things where, you might write a number of pictures to them, but they have a limited lifespan. You can only write to them so many times. When you're running an operating system, it's reading and writing from the card all the time, and basically it burnt the card out. So every few months, my entire system would just stop working. Now, if that's just something that you play music on, put a new card in, reset it, or do whatever. But when it's controlling your home and suddenly your lights aren't working and things aren't working, it's a bit more of a problem. So I moved away from the Raspberry Pi, and in fact I moved away from Home Assistant. Home Assistant felt a bit clunky. I had a number of updates which failed, and this problem with the SD card, and it just seemed a bit clunky, and they'd roll out a new update, my whole home would stop working, and I got a bit cheesed off with it. So I moved to a system called Habitat. Habitat is a little box you buy, not much different to a Raspberry Pi. It's a small computer in a box, ready made, and it's got the sort of radios in it to deal with things called Zigbee. So there's several different protocols that allow your light switches to communicate with your home automation system. The Z wave or Z wave, depending on whether you're American or not, and then the Zigbee, which is another of these sort of standards. I go with Zigbee. I try and keep everything in Zigbee. So I have bought Zigbee light switches, and effectively, when you switch them on and off, they do switch the light on and off physically as well. And I'll come on to why that's important. But they also send a message to my home automation to say the light is on or the light is off. And likewise, from the home automation, you can send a message to the light switch saying switch on, switch off. There's a number of problems with this. The first is if you go through an internet service. So if you buy something like Philips Hue, you have an ecosystem that's owned by Philips. You're on their cloud-based system. They're effectively controlling your home from their cloud-based system. There's two problems with that. One, there's privacy. Do I really want Google with their Nest thermostat to know when I'm at home, because actually those thermostats got movement sensors in them. Google can effectively see when you're at home and when you're not. They can see what your patterns are. They can see when you turn your heating on and off, everything. So there's the privacy issue. There's also the issue that if your internet goes down now, in France, I have a rock solid fibre internet, but in the UK, it's as flaky as hell. Often I'm browsing and things just stop for a few minutes and then it comes back again. It's slow, unreliable. Well, my light switches and my home automation has to be reliable. So I want a system that's localized, not internet based. And so I have light switches that actually physically turn the lights on and off, and also connect to my home automation. And that immediately causes a problem. So if you think of a physical light switch clicking on and off, say I switch the switch on, click, it's on. If my home automation turns it off, the switch is now in the wrong place. So things are different with home automation. My light switches are press on, press off, or you could get touch buttons and touch dimmers and things. There's a rabbit hole of information to learn, but I have enjoyed it. But what I enjoy about my home automation, there's a lot of people that just enjoy the tinkering. How much of my home can I automate? And that's not me. For me, home automation is about making your home work better than it did without automation. So, for example, my stairs that I've just shown you, coming up those crookedy stairs, I used to have a light switch at the bottom and a light switch at the top. You switch the light on at the bottom when you're carrying whatever up the stairs. You get to the top, you kind of switch it off with your arm when you get to the top. I don't do any of that now. I've got a movement sensor on the stairs. At night time, it comes on 10%, so it's just enough light to be able to see without waking anyone else up in the house. Not that I have many other people in my house, sad, lonely bastard. But anyway, at night it comes on, or maybe it doesn't wake me up. If I get up for a wee in the night, you don't want poof daylight. You just want a little enough glow to find your way to the loo and not pee on your feet. So at night time, the movement sensor puts the light on 10%. During the day, puts it on for full brightness, and it puts it on, and as soon as it detects no movement on the stairs, it turns it off again. And that's kind of rather lovely. Your lights on the stairs go off. You can actually get them to a point so the lights go on as you walk down the stairs. I mean, I'm not going to get into that. It's a bit too much for me. It's a bit OCD, but you know what I mean. So another thing for my home, I've got movement sensors outside in the garden. When I'm at home, the lights just come on in the garden as you walk up the garden, up the path to the front door. The lights come on in the garden and the lights come on at the front door on the porch. And actually I get a message saying somebody's in the garden. Works well till Mr. Badger or Mr. Fox has a stroll through my garden at 1 a.m. But I can put automation into that. Come on to that in a minute. And the other thing is it can detect when I'm away. So it knows that when my phone's in the house, I'm probably here, and when my phone is somewhere else, I'm probably out. So it can say, well, I'm not here, and somebody's walked up to the front door at 1 a.m, and it can put random lights on in the house to make it look like there's somebody in the house, like you've woken somebody in the house. So I have had people check my car out at night. It seems to be a thing in the UK at the moment, and I've got a car that the police use as their unmarked pursuit car because it goes like stink and it doesn't look like it goes like stink, and that's become a bit of a target for car thieves. I have had people check my car out at night, and the beauty of that is when I'm at home it notifies me and it puts lights on outside. When I'm away it actually puts lights on in the house, and it's like you've walked up the drive and somebody's heard you and there's lights coming on in the house, time to clear off. And it's worked, and I've got it on the CCTV where, they've walked up trying the door handles and suddenly they've seen the lights and legged it. I'm not even at home. And that sort of intelligent house you can put in there. As I say, some people will spend their whole lives tinkering with their house and it becomes their hobby. That's fine if that's what you want to do. And generally I'm happy with tinkering with electronics and computers and things, but for my home automation I just want it to work how I want it to work. You can set scenes, so you can say, well, when I put the television on dim the lights, shut the curtains. You can do all those sorts of things. And really, you can go on forever. You know, you can have blinds that come down, you can have lights that change, you can control all your music in the house. You can go on forever, spend a fortune as well. But as I say, I tend to say I've got little simple things. So, for example, my fountain goes off at night. My garden lights, I've got some beautiful lights in my garden. They come on at dusk, which obviously changes every day with the seasons. So rather than keep changing a time switch that says, oh, I'll make them come on at 8 o'clock at night or whatever, it knows when dusk is. On come my garden lights at dusk, and they go off at 10:30. I've got a routine when I go to bed. I say good night to my she who can never be named. You know who she is from Amazon Echo. If I say her name, well, everyone's will trigger. And I can say good night to her. She goes round, she shuts off all the lights for night time. So all the lights downstairs, sets the airco, and now sets the timer on the TV to go off in 30 minutes, because I'm a great one for watching TV late at night, waking up at 1 in the morning with the telly still going. So there's all sorts of things you can put in that help you. You can even have it, you know, if you get up at the same time every morning to catch the train, you can have it make your cup of coffee ready for you and that sort of thing. And there's some nice things. I know it all sounds very first world problem, you know, how bad is it that you've got to actually flick the switch to make your coffee in the morning? There's something quite nice about coming down and your coffee's made and everything's warm, and it's a bit like your thermostat coming on half an hour before you wake up, so the house is warm when you wake up. So it's those little things that make quite a difference. So as I say, I went from Home Assistant to Habitat. I'm now going to go back to Home Assistant, running in a different way, so not running on a Raspberry Pi, but running on its own actual computer in a thing called Docker. If you're interested, put a comment and I'll do a quick video on it. As I say, I don't want this to become, there's millions of Home Assistant people that do nothing but Home Assistant and they really know their stuff. I'm not going to do that, but if you're interested, put a comment and we'll just have a look at it. And eventually when I move house, I'm intending with my new house to redo the home automation for my new house, because obviously every house is different. But as I say, comment if you're interested. So what's next? Well, I just don't know. I mean, I've struggled to do a video in a timely manner. I'm sorry about that again. I'm off to Oman in a week. Hopefully we'll have some more from Oman. Hoping to have a look at the Grand Mosque again. I really loved the Grand Mosque. It was beautiful. Going to do some more diving in the Dominiat Islands with the turtles. Don't think there'll be whale sharks at this time of the year, but there'll certainly be turtles. And see my son, of course, and have some nice meals with him. He's working during the day, so I'm going to go off and explore during the day, and then meet him in the evening for meals and things, and the weekend, of course, and get some diving in with him. I love diving with him out there. So there'll probably be a bit on Oman. As I say, it's all a bit fluid at the moment. I don't know when my house is going to sell. It's only just gone on the market. I said to the estate agent, "You've had it a week, you haven't sold it. What the hell's going on?" For a joke, of course. And I'm kind of hoping that that'll move fairly quick, because then my plans can move fairly quick. My plans are sell here, go out to France and look for a house while I'm in France. I don't know if you know anything about the UK housing market, but if you sell your house and go in straight into your next house, which is what most people do, that's called a chain. I'm sure it happens in every country. Sometimes we've got a chain of 5 houses, and if one person in that chain breaks the chain, all hell breaks loose. And so I'm thinking, if I sell with no chain, no onward chain, it makes my house much more attractive. It stops people from doing, there's a thing in the UK called, I think it got known as gazundering. So basically they would offer a price, say, for example, 500,000. That might sound mad for some places, but a 500,000 house in the UK is a fairly average sized house. Say they offer you 500,000. you go through the solicitors, you spend a load of money on searches on your new house, you line everything up in the chain to be ready to go into your new house, and then days before the contract gets agreed with the solicitor, they say, actually, we're going to give you 20 grand less. And can I say this on YouTube? It's a fuck you, and it's a nasty thing to do, and it basically they're holding you to ransom because they know you're not going to want to break the chain. You've got your house committed up. Well, by not having a chain, if they do that to me, they can sod off because actually it doesn't change my plans at all. I'll find another buyer who's not going to mess me about. And so it gives me a much stronger selling position. Secondly, when I go to buy a new house, suddenly I'm a buyer with no chain. So I'm somebody that can say, right, I'll buy a house, it can be all through in so many weeks. Now, if the person selling their house has got their eye on a new house and they're likely to miss it because they can't get theirs sold in that chain, they will reduce the price to get through, to get that sale made. And so I'm sort of thinking I'll get the best of selling with no chain. I'll also get the best of buying with no chain because I'm going in as a cash buyer with no chain. I'll buy your house and it can be through as quickly as you need it to be through, or as quickly as a solicitor can pull their finger out in the UK. I mean, the solicitors in the UK just seem to make a meal out of buying and selling houses just so they can justify their exorbitant fees, I suspect. Anyway, so that's my plan. So the plan is sell mine, bugger off to France, while I kind of reverse it. I'll be flying home to look at houses in the UK, leaving my dog with friends in France. Jules, you might have Mags for a while. Thank you very much. And then I'll buy a house here. In reality, what will probably happen is once my house is sold, I'll go looking for houses. I'll find one straight away and I'll be back into that chain, but I'm trying to avoid that chain. So God only knows when I'll be on here next. I'll try not to leave it as long next time. Stick with us.